everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of KDLive or Key Digital Live. And we have a very, very special guest with us today. Obviously, I've got my cohort in crime here, Mr. Jonathan Ferry, who's with me all the time. But we've got a really special guest, Mr. Zebadiah Henry. He's the owner of Inex Systems and Designs in Atlanta, Georgia. Zeb, thank you for joining us today. And Jonathan, I'll let you take it away.
This is going to be an episode where we talk about what you're there right in front of, which is your new video wall installation using our the Key Digital KD VW 4x4 Pro. Zeb, you want to tell us where you are and what the video wall is used for, and tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Sure. How you guys doing? Zebadiah Henry with Inex Systems and Designs. So I'm here at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship. This is a 55,000 square foot space that's dedicated to Black entrepreneurs. It's the largest center in the world, actually, that's dedicated to Black entrepreneurs. And it's a full-blown entrepreneur incubator. So from startup to companies like myself that is more developed, they help us with programming, knowledge base, access to capital, you name it, they have provided it. I'm one of the first stakeholders here back in 2018. H.J. Russell owns the building and they moved out and we kind of started this project. So it's 55,000 square foot. I'm in charge of all the AV and technology in the space as well. So of course, that's where Key Digital comes into play.
Zeb, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but I know when I was there a few months ago touring the space, it's very amazing. You have a very interesting entrepreneur there, a very young lady.
Yes.
Tell that little story real quick. It's just a little anecdote here to fill in. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so Zoe, she's 10 years old, 10-year-old CEO. She owns a company called Beautiful Curly Me, little dolls that she created a few years back. I think she's 11 now. But yeah, doing great things. She's one of the youngest. She is the youngest CEO we have here at the Russell Center. But it's great to feel her energy. She has all these great ideas, her and her mom, and they're really, starting to really take off. So it's called Beautiful Curly Me. That's the name of her doll and doll collection. So go look them up, definitely.
Yeah, and Zeb and I first came into contact years ago when he first started. Apparently, when you mentioned the year there, I'm like, well, that's kind of when we started up because I wasn't with Key Digital at the time, but Key Digital introduced us together, and I worked with helping you out with some programming for the Russell Center. And you've been doing some amazing things, but not just in the Russell Center, as we'll talk about today. You've been doing projects. Obviously Inex, that's not your only client, the Russell Center, but that's where you got started. That's great. But we've got some other things we're going to talk about too.
I'm going to correct you. Sorry. It's Inex. Inex.
What did I say? I apologize.
Inex.
Okay, Inex.
Inex.
Okay. I'm in sales. I'm all about sorry.
Yeah, no. That's good, and now it makes perfect sense as well. I see even the arrow through there, so the design that backs it up, and yeah, Dwayne, you see, not just the I is emphasized there; it's in.
That only takes me 4 or 5 minutes to get it straight.
Interior, exterior. When I first started the company, we were gonna get into landscape lighting. My older brother, who was going to be a part of the company, wanted me to get into landscape lighting because he had a client that wanted some lights. He said, let's start this company. And first job, I quit, didn't like playing in the dirt. Landscape lighting wasn't for me, but I kept the name because, we still do interior and exterior spaces. So
absolutely.
Awesome. So very good. So let's go ahead and we're going to begin a little, we got a few graphics for everybody here that we'll show. Everybody can see the screen now, right?
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, again, the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. Now you've got a few different Key Digital systems going on there. If I'm not mistaken, including, like you mentioned earlier, the one that was the first one we installed where Dwayne and you had worked together. That was actually well, we'll talk about that in a few moments, but because it's a 4K AV over IP system. But this video wall here that you're sitting there in front of, very impressive. I mean, I know you're a tall guy, so that's a huge wall. What's going on there?
So the room I'm in is called the pitch deck, and long story short, the CEO Jay Bailey, we did an original design with a projector on the wall. It was underwhelming, put it that way. And he's like, look, this is the pitch deck. They're going to bring the venture capitalists back here to try to get funding. Part of that process, we need to wow everybody, right? So I was like, well, there's only one way to wow somebody is bring in the Key Digital video wall, So we were going to try to do a full LED wall, corner to corner. That got obviously pricey. So what we went with was 4 86-inch LG TVs, the 4x4 Pro. We have 2 wall plates for sources in the room, so 2 laptops. We have a standing computer that we'll run graphics on, and then the presenter can bring his or her laptop in, connect to the KD which will interface with all of our microphones and cameras on the new one. And when we do that, we'll have full video conferencing, and we'll have a full 4x4 wall. So as you see now, this is all 4 showing one image. But obviously we could split it up, have a video conference on one, we could show a presentation on the other. All being controlled by URC, total control. I have a touch screen on the wall where we'll do some cool stuff like, drop the shades, turn on the lights, start the presentation. We'll be able to control the 4x4 Pro to change what we're showing on the screens. We'll be able to control the video conference software that we're using, all from the touchscreen. So it'll give them definitely will give them that wow factor at that point. So
yeah, another exciting thing, you're using our new KD-W XWPS, which is our little wall plates there with HDMI and USB-C video into it. And some people may find it odd that we're happy about you mentioning URC for control, because everybody knows we have compass control, but we've always said we play well with others. And it's very exciting what you can do here with this room, among other rooms. And there is great.
It really is. And in fact, I have a question for you, Zeb, about this video wow, as the term has emerged now.
Yeah.
In this design, and this is just something I put together based on my understanding of the system. I've got our 4 receive extenders, which are included with the video wall processor. I've got that as part of the design. Are you actually using those, or because I don't know the size of this room specifically. Now we do know the RICE center size, or is perhaps the video wall processor VW 4x4 Pro K located close enough to these monitors that you're able to use the HDMI outputs instead of the CAT outputs?
No, so we are using the CAT outputs to the so each of the receive ends behind the TV, and going back, the rack room is right outside of this room, so we could have ran some fiber HDMI and whatnot. But we did it this way. It works great. And everything we're controlling in the room, everything is IP controlled, so that's great. We're talking to your matrix via URC. Talking to the LG TVs over IP, so no IR emitters, no flashing lights, no emitters getting unstuck. So it really works great. The wall plate definitely adds, for them to easily be able to plug in their source right there at the podium and have their local source. Then we have a secondary source, and then of course the BYODs are right back in the rack room.
Nice. And the reason I was asking is you know, hey, if they want to install a second video wow, you could actually connect both the HDMI and the CAT outputs and create two mirrored walls with the VW 4x4 Pro K, which is kind of a cool thing. Like it's a video wall processor that could power two video walls, showing the same thing at the same time, just so you know. But another feature that I know you are using is the panel flip feature.
Absolutely.
So that means that those displays behind you, the top two monitors, you are rotating them 180 degrees, correct?
Correct. If can I stand up? I have a bad arm. If you can see these ugly notches up there, I don't know why all manufacturers.
You know, I'm going to spotlight that your video. Go ahead there, Zeb.
So the notches on the TVs up there, right?
Yeah, I do see them.
So all these manufacturers, they put the notches for the IR emitter and the power and all that stuff. So when you try to do a TV wall, it absolutely makes it ugly because you got this notch. Unless you do a full like LG LED monitor, which you're paying 4 times the price.
Right.
It made it simple just to flip the top two TVs, pop in your web interface. I did it. This is my first time using this as a TV wall. I've done it with your encoders and decoders. But with this, I just went in, dialed up the IP address, flipped the two TVs, adjusted the bezels, and it took me all of really 2 minutes and done.
Come on, that's awesome. Yeah, there is bezel adjust as well. That's so cool you utilize those features, and it's especially cool that it was that easy. Yeah, these bumps in the center there, or sometimes there's just that small protruding bump for the IR sensor. Hey, these things now, they're so narrow, the bezels on the other 3 of 4 sides, that flip them that 180 like you've done, panel flip enable, and there you have it, the narrow sides all conjoined. Before
you move on from that, Jonathan, as Zeb said, he's done it with also our decoders and our AV over IP, and so we've had like Zeb, other integrators that have done it with maybe 3 wide, 2 high. As long as it's 2 high, you can do it 4 wide, 2 high, etc., and it works well. And it, like I said, it really is almost as tight as what they call a true video wall panel for about 1/4 of the money. And so that's a really nice feature. But you also mentioned the bezel correction, which on that wall behind Zeb, if you didn't have that bezel correction, those diagonal lines in his logo would stand out like a sore thumb because the way it would break without the bezel correction. So and that's also available on our AV over IP video wall processing in the decoders as well. So
very good feature, absolutely.
So speaking of video over IP, Zeb, and for those of you following Key Digital through our through industry publications, perhaps Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., we always love publicizing the installations of our partners. And so you may have seen Inex and Key Digital associated together in some publications not too long ago for some of the installations at Harold's Chicken that were all AV over IP installs. You want to tell us about those a little bit?
Absolutely. So we did, we've been knowing the owners of Harold's Chicken for 11 years now. We did the first one in Edgewood, Atlanta, and then they expanded out to the very first one we did with the KP, the IP 1080s, and they're still working great. We have a 10x24 matrix at Harold's Marietta. So it's a great sports bar feel. So the Harold's Chicken concept comes from Chicago. And they brought it down here and they created their own concept, the Chicken and Ice Bar. So it's full blown nightclub and sports bar feel. But what I've heard through a lot of people who go there is like, you know what, there's not a bad seat in the house because they have so many screens, right? And they love the fact, you know, we've done 8 to 10 sources, so every game on Sunday NFL ticket, they're able to watch it very easily controlled with the KD app. They love the live feed feature on the KD app. When we get to that, it's a great feature. So once she did Marietta, we did Duluth, a little bit bigger, a little bit better. We brought in the IP 822s and 922s. We're able to do some audio debedding and things like that, which is great for the DJs. We have wall plates, the single game wall plate for DJ inputs for their video DJs at all 3 locations. And
Nice.
then December last year, we finished up Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that one is a huge space. They remodeled a Total Wine, if anybody's familiar with that.
Whoa.
They took a Total Wine store and flipped it to a Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar, 2 sides VIP, all 75 to 85.
Looks like Johnny's a wino. He really reacted to that.
Well,
he knew it well.
I'll be honest. I'm playing Where's Waldo with the bottles on the walls here, and I see 2 bottles of Tanqueray, and let's just say 5 o'clock will come soon. Just kidding, everybody. When 5 o'clock comes is when 5 o'clock will come.
Yeah. And so all 3 of the heroes, well, 4, we're about to redo Edgewood and bring in some AV over IP into there. We did that 11 years ago, and you know, design and stuff was a little weird, and it's a really old building, so they're going to do some remodeling. I think this summer, and we're going to revamp that hero. So because their anniversary. The anniversary that the Heroes in Atlanta is actually my anniversary in real life, which is June 7th. You know, I kind of finished them up right before I went and got married in 2012. So it's been a long relationship with the owners there. So
Wow. And surely you remember the wedding anniversary. It's not what helps you. The herald's job was not what helps you remember the wedding anniversary. It's the other way around, right?
Absolutely.
So speaking of, I mean, look, you know, the AV over IP stuff, you know, it's interesting you kind of document the timeline and all, because with the AV over IP, you know, the initial product being the 1080 and now having the 4K products that are available only a year after the release of the 1080s. But what continues, even though we've had these products for 6-7 years now, the software, the control options just get better and better, easier and easier, kind of like what you described with the setting up your bezel wall there, you know, the panel flip on your video wall, video wow, you know, really just how much the Key Digital app has matured over these years. And, you know, I assume that some of those projects were released and maybe we had the live feed thumbnails at that time. But now with the source and display control features, is that something you've actually implemented at any of these?
Yeah, so we're using source and display control at Duluth and in Charlotte. So great for turning on the individual TVs, controlling the cable box, you know, with your channel up and channel down and guide and everything, number pad, you get the whole shebang with it. And it's a great app. I mean, it makes control of these systems much easier. So in Marietta, I'm also using URC with it. Not that it's difficult, but it is, you know, they have to do a few little things, and if it catches up a little bit. So we did bring the KD app into there after a year just to make it easier for them.
And the nice thing about the KD app, there's 0 programming. You know,
right.
It's not like when you're doing a control system, you have to program it. It's already there. You can change friendly names as you need to. We actually configure them to your design to start with before we ever ship the you know, the encoders and decoders out. So yeah, and you've been great to embrace that quickly when we added those features, and
Yep.
and it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's been like I said, it's been a great app. We have other restaurants here, Fuma, Atlanta, Royal Peacock as well. We have they both have AV over IP systems, and that owner is a good friend of mine. A little bit more difficult of a person to deal with, but once I got him on board, he loves it. KD app, he loves the live feed, so you can actually see what he's putting up before he puts it up, make sure what he wants to show. He does a lot of graphics and stuff. We're about to do a video wall for his space as well, a little small one, so he can do some just some cool graphics at the entryway of his new restaurant, Fuma. And both of those, I think one is a 8x9, I think it is, and then the other one is a I think it's a 4x8 or something like that. And we're gonna add a couple encoders and a couple extra decoders so we can build this TV wall for him. So yeah.
Yeah, what's so exciting about what you're doing, Zeb, is you're not just one thing. You know, you've got the restaurants going on, you've got the corporate space. I mean, within the Russell Center, you get to do a lot of things within that. And so you're embracing a lot of different parts of our technologies, including our wireless presentation gateway, as well in this room and others. And that's what's so exciting is not just because you know it's easy to get in a rut, but it's nice if you can expand out and do all different kinds of things, and we can mix
Yeah.
and match those solutions for you.
Yeah, we've always prided ourselves as a company that we're one of the few that, from security systems all the way down to full automation, commercial, residential, we kind of do it all. We're all over the place sometimes, but you know, we really get it done. And you know, the cool thing I wanted to say about Key Digital in general, I literally have Balins that still work for you guys 10 years now. Two Cat 6, the old two Cat 6 Balins.
Wow.
I still have clients who won't change their TVs. They still have, you know, 1080 TVs. They don't want to upgrade because they work. And the Balin still works. And that's just the way I've always ran my company. I stuck to the companies that works for me, right? And Key Digital has definitely been one that has always, if they say a Balin fails, I know we have to gotta check the cables first, gotta check the HDMI cables. The Balin is good. I'm almost guaranteeing it. So that's kind of why I've always, you know, I always go to Key Digital whenever I need anything that for video transmission. So
Man, that's just the best feedback that we could receive. So super valuable for us. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I second what Dwayne said there. It's so cool to see the different systems you're installing, integrating, and the different ways, creative ways you're installing them and handing them over in a user-friendly way. You know, I could tell that every time you're handing this over to your customer, you're without a doubt 100% giving them the easiest to use possible interface. Sometimes that's with Key Digital's apps, sometimes that's with others. And hey, like Dwayne said earlier, third-party integration is the name of the game for us at Key Digital as well. So that's awesome. Zeb, is there anything else you'd like to plug as we wrap up here?
no, not really. Other than just the space here, like at the Russell Center, as Dwayne had mentioned, the symposium, which has gotten great reviews. It's we're using Compass Control upstairs. So we're controlling all the Clear One audio stuff, all the interfacing for the video conferencing. We have what, a 200-inch screen up there, projectors, 6 other screens now. We've kind of changed the design a little bit. The whole building here is so think 50,000 square foot. We got Cat 6 and fiber, and you know, media converters running. I think we have a 2 input by, I think it's now 11 or 12 TVs throughout the building that we're running your AV over IP system through for our digital signage stuff. So, you know, your mark is definitely all over this building as well.
You're always so much fun to work with, And again, I've been working with you since before I was with Key Digital, but it was because of Key Digital that we came together. And your team is great, and you guys do great work. So we thank you for your time today. And I'll let Jonathan close it out for us. But Zeb, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Zeb, for having us. Thank you very much, Zebadiah Henry. How do people contact you to inquire about your services?
So Instagram is at Inex_systems. They can reach out, phone number 404-966-6979, or they can just email me at info@inexsystemsdesigns.com.
Wonderful. Okay, Zebadiah Henry, Inex Systems. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks everybody for tuning in to this awesome edition of